Today we're going to do something I've never done before. We're going to use dice divination to first get a letter from this dice, and then we'll find that letter in this alphabet deck to kind of provide a qualifier, a significator for the reading about what the reading is about. And then we will roll this dice, the number dice, to decide how many cards Spirit would like in the spread that relates to this reading, and then we'll use the Muse Tarot here to fulfill that spread. So we'll start with the letter dice. Let's see what comes out. S. Okay, that's excellent. Let's find the S card here. This deck is from Vamala Rogers' Transform Your Life Through Handwriting. So the S card says, balance among and within all areas of our lives. The affirmation is, I am actively calm and calmly active in all situations. I am actively calm and calmly active in all situations. So we'll read from the book here. It says, the letter S, soul quality. Balance among and within all areas of our lives. The reason the letter S can pose such a challenge to write, as with many of us, the reason the letter S can pose such a challenge to write is that many of us have lives that are out of balance. We frantically attempt to make a living, spend quality time with those we love, practice our faith, take vacations, attend plays, concerts, or movies, and now and again attend plays, concerts, or movies now and again, pay our bills, and somehow, through it all, maintain balance. To experience how the letter S can support you in that, pick up your pen and give it a go. So if you're not familiar with this program, this course, this philosophy, Vamala Rogers claims that the way we create different letters with our handwriting helps wire our brain either to help us or to hinder us, to create pathways of balance and ease and kindness, or not so much. So she suggests creating letters in different ways. And from my own experience, it truly has been life transforming. So my husband and I actively worked to change our handwriting. It was probably, almost 5 years ago is when we started. And now we do write in this way. And it is like almost like it feels almost like a prayerful event, so to speak, to write in this way. So here's how she is suggesting to create the S, and she'll get into it in a moment, but just so you understand, that's kind of what she's saying when she says pick up the pen and see how it feels. So where were we? To experience how the letter S can support you in that, pick up your pen and give it a go. Just like maintaining balance is not as easy as it looks. So declaration of intent, as we already read on the side, so essentially the mantra, I'm actively calm and calmly active in all situations. Alphabetical family, the letter S is the third family member of the family of applied creativity. Element, earth. The letter S is grounded in practical reality. Meditate and pray, of course, but don't create a bubble around yourself by getting lost in clouds of your mind. Sink the roots of your spiritual self in everyday life. Wow, I love that. Ground it, live it. Earth, the letter S. Gender is feminine. The letter S is gracious, rooted, and balanced. Gemstone is purple amethyst. Oh, weird! We've got a fully purple flower here, or these three flowers. I think there's some sort of onion. They're wildly growing in one of the flower beds that my husband and I have. Anyways, that's just interesting. Purple. Okay. The ease of finding this stone belies its astonishing spirit-based power. Its reputation is for its ability to calm the mind, center the consciousness, and remove all scattered thoughts that may continue to jump around helter-kelter in the head and refuse to sit still. It's the perfect stone to hold in the palm of your left hand before you sit to write, meditate, or center yourself. The animal is the snake. This legless creature is highly symbolic in traditions around the world. The snake is described in many diverse ways, from being evil to being an expression of God-centeredness free from egoic concerns. Setting all of this aside, a snake is a snake. Alphabetically, the snake represents balance. If you are given the opportunity to watch it move, up and down, around, over and under. The snake keeps moving smoothly along, never out of balance, and always on alert, whether snoozing in the sun or winding up its way up around a tree. It represents staying in balance by letting go of whatever doesn't work, instead of clinging to old thought habits that drag your energy down and create undue stress. It sheds its skin, allowing new patterns to emerge. Wow. I really love that. I know I've probably read that before, but it's not something that I remember. And I'm like, wow, that is such a beautiful, I never thought of a snake in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's moving and flowing and letting go of what doesn't work. I really love that. Guardian protector, Ariel, the angel of nature. Ariel represents Mother Nature at her balanced best. She oversees not only all the plants, animals, insects, and bugs, she also guides the energy of our lives, for we too are a part of nature. All those days when it feels as though all the demands of life are crushing down on you, take a break and ask for Ariel's help. Go for a walk, or if that's not possible, excuse yourself from whatever you're doing to find a place to be alone, a quiet place, no phones, no computers, no one else, and sit where there's a writing surface handy. Close your eyes and evoke Ariel's presence and guidance. Take a few deep breaths, then open your eyes and slowly, the key is slowly, write lines of the letter S, S's, write lines of the letter S, and light-hearted words that contain it. Invest at least 20 minutes of quality time writing 20 minutes of quality time writing. Ariel's help takes many forms, so don't be surprised when it comes. Just be grateful. How to inscribe the most self-affirming S. Uppercase. Begin as though you are inscribing the letter C. At the top of the mid-zone, gently reverse the stroke and create a backward letter C filling the mid-zone. Complete the letter with a loop at the baseline reaching forward. Lowercase, a miniature of the uppercase filling only the mid-zone. Caveat. For both upper and lowercase letters, make sure the left side of the bottom loop aligns with the left side of the initial top curve. So I think there's alignment there. So in all of her letters, it's very interesting because they all end by going forward, which is something I was not accustomed to prior to practicing this way, handwriting this way, but it's something now I'm very sensitive to, where for whatever reason I have to go back to like a very standard way of handwriting if I'm filling out an official form or something. It's actually very jarring for me for many reasons, but one of the reasons is that all of her letters are free flowing forward, and I've gotten so used to that forward movement that it's so interesting to not be going in that direction. Okay, wow, I'm loving this so much so far. So we're really looking at balance, huh? And this idea of almost like paradox, like actively calm and calmly active. And I really love that she was talking about that like spiritual essence being rooted in our human life, because more and more that is what I'm coming to terms with, that it's a deeply spiritual practice to see how we're getting our needs met in our human lives, to find a sense of balance to a certain extent in our human lives. And as I say all that, I kept thinking about this when we were reading about the S and balance, because I think balance can be kind of a tricky word. It can be a heavy word. And I have sort of a definition of balance in my life that isn't like, I like it because it's not like there's not like stagnant, like I need to find balance and be balanced forevermore. Instead, I think of balance more as like a relationship to a certain extent. And ironically, I think of it as a relationship to discomforts in our life. If we are paying attention and getting information from discomforts in our life, we are often more and more working, like the snake, we're letting go of what doesn't work and we're adopting what does, and we're moving our life forward. And when we have a not so great relationship with discomforts in our life, oftentimes that's when we can start to get way out of balance, because we're not looking at essentially the language of life. And that's a framework that I developed and have a course around. So that is me trying to tell you, the long way of going around. I was gonna say like the snake's way, but not actually, because the snake let goes of what let go. Snake let goes of let goes. Is that okay? Hopefully you understand what I mean. The snake lets go. That's what I'm trying to say. Thanks. Lets go of what doesn't work. Okay, my point. One of my points in saying all that is I have a course. It's free on YouTube. It's on a different channel. I have a channel called Exercise 180 that's like yoga, Pilates, holistic health. And I created a course that's more like looking at health very holistically, like how we're interacting with life and how we are just like, so there's like emotional health components, mind, body, spirit components. I call it simply on the Exercise 180 channel, the Exercise 180 course. It's totally free. And so what I will do is I will link up, I'll link up that course in the description, the playlist to the entire course. But what I will also do is link up like the lesson to start with that explains this like philosophy, that this language of life philosophy that is connected to the idea of balance. In case you're intrigued by this and there's anything there for you in terms of helping you live out this essence a little more, the balance among and within all areas of your life. So with that said, let's grab the number die here. We're going to roll it with the intention of asking Spirit how many cards we should draw for. I just knew it. I just knew it. Okay. 4 cards. Let me just sit with this for a moment. I'm going to decide if it's just 4 cards all as sort of like messages or advice from Spirit, or if there's a specific spread that wants to come through. Give me one moment. Okay, so here's what I think. We are going to do a 4-card spread as we are advised by Spirit to do here. And that 4-card spread is going to start with 2 cards that are going to give us information about the assumptions you're making that would bring your life into more balance. And then we're going to get 2 cards that are going to give us information about what is the reality of what would actually help bring your life into more balance at the time that you view this, that you're viewing this video. So this is essentially like a clarity reading. And that's the intention of my clarity readings, is to unearth assumptions and reality so that we can, not keep funneling our time, energy, and money towards assumptions that aren't working, and instead funnel our time and money towards what will work. And so this has turned into, which I love, essentially like a clarity reading for balance. So what assumptions would it be helpful for you to let go of? And what, in terms of what you're thinking will bring your life into more balance, and what realities would be helpful for you to consider on the concept of balance. Okay, let's see what comes through here. Assumptions the viewer is making about bringing their life into balance. Okay, reality, there's one. Okay, well, we got, interesting, we got 5. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go with it. And then as I say that, it's so interesting, because we just got to go with the flow here so as I say that, I'm like looking at this, I'm like, no, but Spirit said 4, but then I see this 1 and I was like, oh, that's 5. And then I see this, which is 5. So I think that's a little wink to be like the snake, essentially, to not be so rigid on things. Okay, so this is the reality side. The cards came up face up, and now we're going to look at the assumption side. So what came out here is, on the assumption side, is 2 of materials in reverse and the 3 of inspiration in reverse. So that's, in a standard deck, that is the 2 of pentacles in reverse and the 3 of wands. And then what came out for the reality is the 5 of wands in reverse, the page of voices in reverse, and the 2 of voices in reverse. So that is the 5 of wands, or excuse me, I think I may have said that for inspirations, but voices is swords, so page of swords and the 2 of swords. Okay, let me see if I can speak out here what the story that's coming through. Okay, so it feels pretty cohesive, so let's start with the assumption. So it seems like you are potentially making sort of probably an unconscious assumption that if you just didn't have to essentially kind of like deal with juggle like the everyday aspects of being human, the choices you have to make in daily life and in work, and your ships would just come in, represented by the three of wands here in reverse, then your life would be into balance. Okay, so like the two of pentacles upright is like when it's positively aspected, it's like you are dealing, oh look, it's almost like an S. It's almost, I mean, it's infinity sign, but there's kind of that essence, right? That kind of snake essence. So there's like this acknowledgement that just kind of life is ever out of balance. It actually is sort of a balance card, the Two of Pentacles, to a certain extent. Like it's always out of balance because it's just like ever moving and ever changing. But as we flow with that infinite nature of life, there is a sense of balance in that flow, right? That's when Two of Pentacles is positively aspected. So when it's in reverse in the assumptions realm, I think there is some sort of unconscious assumption in you, like you're feeling pretty burdened by just that flow of life and having to essentially be the choice maker, and like just having to deal with it. And there might be something particularly about your money slash career, like if you're just kind of always trying to figure things out, there might be something with that. And the Three of Wands upright can be a really beautiful card of like watching your ships come in. And so the first thing it gave me when I saw it in reverse is like you feel like if your ships would just come in, so essentially not just watching them come in, but if they would just like arrive already, that you would somehow, that would bring more life or more balance into your life. Now, when we go to the reality of things, it's actually sort of a different story, which is nice, right? Like there's difficulty and there's discomfort in identifying our assumptions and then identifying the reality of the situation. But why I love doing clarity readings, why I feel like they're so powerful, is when we can, again, as I mentioned before, adjust where we're putting our time, money, and energy from assumption to reality, then we can really actually solve things. Then we can really actually move forward. Then we can really actually bring more balance into our life. So the reality of what would actually bring more balance into your life at this time, if this resonates with you, is first and foremost a detoxing of this Five of Wands energy. And Five of Wands can be just really difficult, like difficult fiery energy. So Wands energy, it is the energy of inspiration. It's the energy of getting things done. It's the energy of passion. But Five of Wands is utilizing that in sort of a chaotic way. And so this could be in relationship with other people, that there's some relationship dynamics that need to be sorted out and move towards more health. It could also just be within yourself, which is like, look at the depiction of the Five of Wands in this particular Muse Tarot. Like it's all one person. So it might just be that, like, I'm just thinking about the difference here between the Two of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. So you might be consciously thinking, the problem is all these things I have to navigate and all these things I have to do, right? And figure out. And I don't mean to undermine any sort of like burden you have on you in that regard. But what if actually the problem is like this lack of alignment within yourself about making choices about that? Does that make sense? And that kind of leads right beautifully into these final two cards, kind of clarifying each other, which is the Page of Voices in reverse and the Two of Voices in reverse. So that's Swords cards. That is choice energy. Swords cards to me, it's almost like the voices in your head. Like, what are you listening to? It's things like strategy and things like boundaries and things like making choices, right? And so there seems to be something here. When I see the Page of Voices in reverse, what that's speaking to me is like a letting go of thinking that you have, like, pages to me are in a beautiful sense, they're like beginner's mind. Okay. They're like, they're willing to be inexperienced in order to move towards maturity and experience. And so when I see the Page of Voices in reverse and the page, or the Two of Voices in reverse, what that's speaking to me about is like step into your mature choice energy. Okay, because it's like we're almost detoxing this idea that you don't know what you're doing, and detoxing this idea that you don't want to be in charge of your choice energy. Because Two of Swords upright, it can be that difficult energy of just like, I mean, look at it is depicted pretty well here, like going in opposite directions, don't know what I don't want to make choices, I don't know what choices to make, you know what I mean? And that really plays along too here with these two cards of your like the assumption of what's going on. Consciously you think like, oh, I'm so sick of managing everything, and I just wish I would essentially like my ships would come in, like my luck would change, something like that. When the reality that spirit in this reading is saying of what's actually going on is like there needs to be some sort of alignment within your relationship dynamics and or within your own self, so that it's easier for you to make choices and for you to pick up your sword of choice. So to really be a choice maker in your life, no more of this Two of Swords energy where you're not wanting to make choices, where you are avoiding choices, and no more of this idea that you that you're like sort of a beginner's mind in choice making or something like that. Like I'm sensing a wisdom in you is what I'm trying to say. And spirit would like to echo that wisdom. And spirit would like you to know like it's time for you to put that wisdom into action. And as that wisdom is put into action, you are going to feel more actively calm and calmly active. And it's the nature of the Two of Pentacles of life, that infinity sign isn't going to feel so overwhelming to you, because what's actually overwhelming is this lack of alignment of that fiery energy within you and maybe within intimate relationships in your life, and this avoidance of seeing yourself as a powerful choice maker, seeing yourself as a wise and powerful choice maker. Mama God, Spirit in this reading would really like you to begin to put on those lenses. I am a wise and powerful choice maker. Might be a really powerful mantra for you to begin to practice. Because I think in that energy of alignment, getting yourself more and more into alignment with yourself, and getting that fiery energy more and more into alignment with your visions and values, and seeing yourself as a wise and powerful choice maker, that just feels like, yes, that is going to help bring your life more into balance, versus this idea of just like, wanting life to not be life. And again, I don't mean to undermine any burdens you truly have with your time, money, or labor. But I also think when we become more aligned within ourselves and we pick up our swords of choice and we decide to be a wise and powerful choice makers, the ever-changing nature of life isn't as burdening, right? And we find more and more solutions, and we find more and more efficient and effective processes and systems, and we set appropriate boundaries, and we ask for the support that we deserve, and we insist on the people in our lives becoming part of an ecosystem where there is community care and things are getting done in balanced ways. And so I think instead of wishing life isn't just this constant and continuous changing thing that requires our attention and our effort and participation, and that like something comes in to kind of help you escape from that, there's more of this like grounded, like settling into your capacity. And the sense I'm really getting is it's like almost already, it's there. It's not that we don't all need to build capacity through our healing processes, but I'm getting the sense that you have so much capacity that maybe you're not. I think there's more capacity you currently have that you could acknowledge. And it's more about acknowledging that. And just as you acknowledge that, you are more and more going to make these wise, grounded, powerful choices, some seemingly small, some seemingly big, day in, day out, moment in, moment out, one baby step at a time, that will allow for this balance to begin to flow in your life, right? You're going to more and more get into the vein of balance instead of chaos and burden. And so it's just like a really beautiful message, not only because it's feeling so cohesive, but also because I really feel like part of it is Spirit would like to acknowledge you for the capacity you've already built. And it's almost like I'm feeling like Spirit is saying it's time for you to acknowledge it within yourself and like use it. Do you know what I mean? Use it for your benefit. Not for your benefit over other people's benefit, but like use it for just your true innate benefit. And whenever we're doing something that's truly healthy for us, it's true, it ripples out and is, regardless of how people respond, if they're responding with their toxicity or their health, it is truly healthy for them, right? And so I really, really think you've built some beautiful capacity that Spirit would like you to acknowledge within yourself and to use. And as you do that, and continue to build capacity for sure, but as you use the capacity you've already built and you see yourself in this way, balance will more and more be your enduring experience.